Hey guys, welcome back to Finding a Toria.
Welcome back.
Hello.
We are ready for a great session with Malcolm and Tori talking to us today.
Across the table again, we find ourselves. You with story, me with the same.
And we are so grateful that you guys are here listening to us.
You got to find a 20?
I'm going to find the best 20 is what I have. But really quick, yes, thank you to everyone that is here. Would we like to ask them to do anything now that we...
Well, I would have, but everybody just sort of started talking.
Sorry, go ahead. We grabbed us. No, I peered across the door and we both knew immediately what must be done.
There's dice in our hands,
but
guys.
No, please, intro us in without us being ridiculous. Go ahead.
So we are out there on the socials.
We're really out there.
We are out there on all of the podcatchers. We are very excited about that. You can find us at www.wordleafmedia.com/findingatoria.
Buddy, the episodes are out there.
And
you can just listen from
episodes
there.
are out there. You can listen to our episodes right from our website. And if you are feeling so inclined, there's a beautiful little button on that page that you can go find us on Patreon and support us.
Touch it. Touch the button.
We're going to get
press the button.
Yeah, you definitely. I'm saying you guys need to put explicit on this. You guys are ones uplighting shit.
We're 18 plus. You love the button, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Touch
certain
the button, please.
I'm certain I just listened to episode 1 and we talked about definitely things. Anyway, so welcome back, guys. We're so excited to have you here. We are going to have a little bit of a discussion for Malcolm and Bird. Each have their own topics they're bringing to the table today. But before we even say what those are,
roll off.
We need a roll off.
Wait. Are we going to have bonuses or what?
If you're the moderator, you get to assign bonuses or negatives to people's initiative roll here.
Well, I do think that it is just a given that Bird Tori has, a higher proficiency. So
what's my bonus?
Go ahead.
Let's say +2.
Okay.
All right. Well, there's one that says 20 on it right there, so I'm good.
No.
Oh, we're rolling.
Roll, motherfucker,
All right,
roll.
we're rolling, motherfucker. A clean 12.
17 plus 2 would be 19.
Would you like to go first or second, Tori?
You go first.
She won initiative, and now I have to go first.
Yep.
This is a new use of initiative in the studio. Okay, so we did have, and thank you so much.
So Malcolm, you're talking about session 0 today.
I am. I'm talking about session 0, and I think the cool thing is whoever won that very stressful roll off for me without any bonuses.
I would have won regardless. I got a nat 17.
Absolutely. So either way, I think it was going to be a good segue between each other and our topics today. And I'm kind of building off the back of some of the work that we did with the, DM, GMing being accessible. Mm-hmm. And maybe some of the ways that can make it more so. And one of the things, like so many things that I did not grow up knowing what I was doing, and the importance of it when I started with gaming was the concept, the staple now, which is a good session 0. Yep. And I'm going to take a little bit of time today with the just low-level research that I've done.
You can just belch into the mic.
See, because every time you lean all the way over there, I'm thinking just airplane bag.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm like, it's all coming down. I'm like,
I knew what was going on.
There go the library tapestries. Okay, so no, but actually, very good podcast etiquette. Sorry for that.
Thank you so much for outing that.
That was my fault. I was like,
you know what you didn't do? You didn't belch right. I didn't. Okay, so I'm going to cite a few sources. First of all, level1geek.com. And from there, they shared a YouTube video by Bob the World Builder, and I used those resources.
I did not.
Yeah, he did.
And I used D&D Beyond. And what I did was a little bit of research into this concept and something that I think that has become more and more important for new tables, whether they're established gamers, established game runners, or people that are new to the game and either role as a session 0. And the DMG makes no bones about it. you've got a few pages. They go really into what you should be looking at. And I don't want to quote, I don't want to read to you, but some of the things that I have found that make sense when you are sitting down with a new table and you have the opportunity to enter into, and I looked for the words and I found them finally, a social contract is really what you're doing. Hey, guys, we're going to move forward in a certain way. Here are the things that you need to know. And here are the things that I need to know to make that just a successful venture, to give us a chance of it being fun.
How are we going to make this work?
And you talk about table expectations, and that can be from the players that are coming to the table, and it can come from the person behind the screen as well. And it gets into everything of, why are we doing this? What is the motivation for the characters to be at the table? And you also get to that point of character creation, which I don't want to go too far into, but it really is usually, if you're going to find a table that loses its bearings early on, it's been my experience that it happens during session 0 character creation, that not enough things are bounced off of, pardon me, what the world's going to be, what the campaign's going to be, what the other factors that not only the YouTube video, but the DMG and other resources list out, is, why are we running this? What is the shared goal of the people, and why are we becoming a coterie or becoming an adventuring party? Down to the point that they give you a nice little D12 table for it, D6 table for it, all of the things that you can do.
Were you able to find it in the DMG?
I was.
So it's just the player's handbook.
It was right there.
Fucking shit.
You get to address some smaller things too, like house rules. This is how we address Katie casting magic missiles in our group.
You can try.
Then addressing it, I mean, we shut up and listen to the 3 figures of damage that are done by it. But house rules, how to know them. One of the things I go back to, and I guess I should cite it again, I'll probably cite it every time that I have a segment here. There's a guy in the Secrets of Blackboard movie that's talking about rules. Mm-hmm. And he was applying it to war games at the time. But he made a very clear point. And he just kind of laughed it off. He goes, have you ever gone over to somebody's house and played poker? If they want wild cards,
right,
there's going to be wild cards. If they don't want wild cards, guess what? You're playing at that person's house. It's their table.
House
it's
rules.
That's how it really started. It wasn't this, the DM gets to decide. It was, guess what? My parents said that you guys can come over here, so there's no magic missiles today because we're doing this at my house. And it was one of those, I get to call it because it's my place things, but so that no one's surprised. So you're not 2 or 3, episodes in, sessions in, and then somebody gets blindsided.
So you mentioned that a lot of this is rule setting and things like that. But also said something to the effect of that we didn't do a ton of this when we were younger at the table, which I think is partially just that we started playing fairly young. We sort of developed our rules together.
And we played those same characters for so long.
Right. But I can really see how that could be of benefit when you are in the world that we exist in today, where you're going to a gaming store and you've never played with the people at the table.
So gaming with strangers is really where
or getting online.
And it's not so much of the things that I've already talked about. Those to me are the no-brainers or the administrational side of a session 0. Mm-hmm. Hey, scheduling.
Yeah.
We'd like to do this once a month. Yep. If you can't do this once a month, let us know up front.
Yeah, and then maybe
setting and style. We talked a lot about the VTM thing.
Oh yeah,
we talked a lot about what kind of game are you getting into. It gives everybody a chance to opt in or opt out.
Well, and that was a piece of where I was going to ask a question. Sorry,
no, you're right.
Is that what you've touched on so far is a lot of rule setting, but I also know something that the rule setting I think happened decades ago
organically.
But what didn't happen decades ago is the idea of what is okay to put in the world of the game. And I've, more and more you see that has become a part of session 0.
And it was,
so I'd sort of bring that up as a topic.
Bird, what do you think on it? Because I think it ties into this lack of dungeon master resources in our early youth, where if you got somebody that was willing to run a game,
you played like they wanted you
there
to.
Really wasn't a whole lot of, hey, wait a minute, are we going to run into this? It was thanks for running the game.
I think like if one of us started a game like Vampire, there was a kind of a breakdown there that we've talked about a couple of times, but that was just because people never played it before, and it's a total different change than playing D&D. But say if somebody was doing Circus,
yes,
right? Chase did Circus, which is one
for everybody to be aware. That's a D&D game that we are playing. That's the title
Right.
we've given the campaign.
But if you took some of those characters and put them in Strahd,
So
we would be in trouble. You got to know what you're playing.
Yeah. And
so I think that comes up more and more, because then that way, if somebody's running a module, things are wide enough spread that you would hope that people aren't assholes and cheat. But if you said, hey guys, we're going to run Curse of Strahd, people are like, oh, okay, we need something with a darker tone. I couldn't play the bunny.
module for the setting, right? Absolutely,
I couldn't play the bunny.
To make sense to play certain characters in it, and I think that another one of the things that I do see value in, especially with the growth of the game, and we talked about the benefits from the growth in the previous, but if you are going to have this game that is that accessible, and if you are going to go out online and, like Katie said in the other, hold yourself out as a professional.
Yeah.
Then you are, I think, obligated to use that session 0 tactically in a way that a hobby table does not. So it is are you contracting with the right person? And down to the nth, and you talk about these social contracts, but they get into hard and soft limits.
Is that Gumballhead?
Yes. It is.
Okay. No, I don't. I recognize the
big plug.
I was thinking that we talked about the absolutely word jar. I was thinking we could just turn it into a drinking game.
That's a terrible idea, and I can tell you absolutely why.
I would not be able to get home.
Right.
When I get nervous, I get verbose, and the first thing that I do is segue thoughts with a word that's incredibly...
Absolutely.
So in case you haven't noticed, we tend to say absolutely a lot.
Back to social contract, which wasn't discussed before this episode.
It's not just you.
But no, they talk about hard and soft limits. Like, really, what's off?
Are you going to be flirting with your friends? Are you going to be flirting with these random people?
Right.
Is that even a
thing?
Is that a thing at the table?
Is that a thing at the table? Is there going to be a chance that your patient? Jesus Christ!
I don't think he was in the world.
No.
Like bird 2, wing 3, bird.
Yeah, hold on. Sorry, there we go. Is there a chance that your character will get tortured? And is that going to trigger? Like, you can go through you don't even have to do like a full list of trigger warnings, but you can be like, hey, does anybody have a problem if this happens?
And now I will say that those are out there to the point that you
can
turn
get the list
in the clipboard almost like you do when you go to the doctor's office. Like, have you experienced X? Because once again, you're dealing in a lot of these cases where I see it for social groups, it's more intuitive. It's even more intuitive for people that have known each other outside of the table for a while. But where you see these used is professional.
Oh, yeah.
And the cons.
Yeah.
The cons they have to.
Because it is almost a liability thing now that if you are found to be a game provider or a host that is not sensitive to said things, doesn't mean you can't run them.
No.
Does not mean that you cannot
You just have
run
to make
those
people aware of it.
But you can't lambaste anybody. You can't broadside anybody.
Right.
You can't. So I find that session 0 for me is different than what it has evolved to. Because for me, I use it as a DM to, quite honestly, I'm stacking info. I'm going to ask you questions.
Yeah, we know that.
I'm going to use that session to let's flesh out your character, let's flesh out the setting, let's do all of the work. But if I'm working as a DM during session 0,
you're taking notes on us.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, Jeffrey was important to you in the village of Schla Bla Schla? Well, then, okay, that's very... And I'm jotting that down either physically or mentally because for me, it is the land of hooks.
Oh, yeah.
But where it should be also is the land of safety. Are we aligning? Arcadia says it's almost every episode. are you at the right table? And session 0, I think in its truest form, is the application for that. That's the identifier.
Yeah,
where the DM has the opportunity to say, hey, look, I read over your thing. You're more than welcome at the table, but what I see is you want to be in a game that doesn't look like this one. You're welcome. We'll try it for a while, but you might want to look elsewhere. And the player can just totally go, hey, if I'm doing $20 a session, I'm out.
What are your thoughts, Bird? I know you've actually played with other groups
well,
more often than we have.
And I was going to say with session 0, we've done a session 0.
Yeah, we do session 0s, just not quite to that degree.
No, and at that, my one table is god awful big, and God help us had we come
is
to
that
the
the
table.
one that I was in?
Well, yes, but yes.
Well, in that iteration, there was no session 0 or introduction for me.
You just showed up.
And my bona fides were known at the table at the time, so it was not important for them to go, okay, is this going to matter? Nope, social.
Yep.
And yeah, there was just...
You were aligned enough
I was
that
aligned
it was
enough
be
that
fine.
it wasn't necessary.
But there have been... I will say, I was talking to her, and there have been times where...
That was me.
Yes.
If you look to camera...
I was talking
4.
to Katie.
Okay, camera 4, go.
And I was starting to do stuff and was starting to build would have been Elspeth. And got, well, if you put it like this, and I went, look, I haven't played in a while, but I do know how to game and I know rogues. Mm-hmm. I don't need your help building her.
Sure.
Right.
And it's like, no, I got this.
Because there's something to be said, and I think that character creation space is
a
little bit of a closet in a room where you have to treat it differently. Because it's the first place, especially for new players, that you get player agency, and for experienced players, it is where they lead with agency.
Which, it was funny because he's never done that again after I did the whole... Mm-hmm. I know how to play this. I haven't played this specific game. Let me build.
But and that's the thing, is that's not what that session 0 should have been for you.
Well, and I was coming in part of the way through, and so it was I was there, and then there was the DM and 2 other people, and those 2 other people were helping me. Don't get me wrong, were helping me, but then were starting to lead me, and I went, hold on. Just because I don't know this system.
Right.
I have the handbook in front of me. If I can build a rogue, I can build a rogue. So just let me go.
Just like any other thing, there are as wildly varied and as all-encompassing session 0 charts and sheets out there as you want to. Katie, you had the opportunity to play with some people that have been playing for a long time at a high level. Was that part of their process bringing you in, or was the assumption, hey, I've had enough experience, you can just I can plug and play?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So we had, that table was one where we had adults who had played, and we had the kids of those adults also coming to the table fairly new to the game. Mm-hmm. And so it was a little bit of a different situation because those children needed to be onboarded into the game.
Right, where it wasn't session 0 the same for everybody.
Right. Yeah. So we did a session 0 to the idea of what are characters? Do you need help? Do you have questions? Helping new players build out their sheets. But we did not have session 0 in regards to some of the stuff we talked about, like filling out sheets in regards to triggers and
what
things
about
like that.
Campaign? How much did the DM give you as far as setting, space? Did they give you anything that would have influenced your character choice or build at that time? Or was that... Because that's always been difficult for me, is to say, okay, well, you're here. Well, if I know where here is, I can kind of get an idea to optimize my character for what here is. But at the same time, like you talked about Ravenloft, I don't want to bring the fuzzy bunny paladin into,
like my poor little blood hunter would not have done well.
So
no, we did not get a layout of what the campaign was going to look like.
So that's a blind build in some ways, which is cool.
Honestly, for me as a DM, that I actually like to do it the opposite. I like to see, what do you want to bring to the table? And then I want to build the story and the world that best suits that group of players.
And that's what I did with Seed Rot, is I had nothing built except for you're going to meet in this situation right here. And I didn't know anything about those characters until then. And literally from that town hall room where there were groups of adventurers auditioning to get the job, I built from that room out.
Right.
And that's how it went. I love that. I love the idea that it informs it the other way too. What other things do you...
So I got a question for you.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
No.
So one of the things that I see a lot out in the groups is especially those players who are our age or older. A lot of people get really grouchy at this idea
I
of
never
the trigger
ran
list.
one.
Exactly.
I don't run one,
And
I'm not gonna run.
Right. And I will go back to, you run your table.
Absolutely.
Find your table and you run your table. But
Drink, motherfucker.
No, I'll pay. I will not be.
but so I guess I'd bring up thoughts on that.
Bird, you jump right in as soon as you want to. Your table, your rules, and for some people, again, I think if you've been playing together for a long time,
If those folks don't want to have to do it, then they don't have to. But they also, if somebody has a shit fit, they'll be like, well, why didn't you say at the beginning? You didn't give me a chance.
which is something else that I see in those same forums, but also make not having a session 0 part of your session 0. Is everybody cool if we just jump in?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think as a DM, at least for me, you're giving up a treasure trove. If you don't have a non-role-playing situation at a table to just walk around and interact with the players as they're building characters, what are you doing if you don't do that? Because all they want to do is talk about their characters. So
I got another question.
Oh, no. Yes, no.
My job today.
Yep.
So
Excuse me. At least turn my head.
another idea about that session 0 though is to that learning about the players and what's coming and taking ideas and feeding that. That is a place to lay out rules, to lay out what you find acceptable as a DM. To
Soft limits and hard limits.
yeah.
Are you going to be able to use that potion as a free action rather than using your action to drink it?
Very soft limit house rule. Can I attack my party member while they're asleep and charm them and take their stuff? Hard rule.
Right. So
Like
like,
you-
No
yeah,
BBB.
so what do you lose when you skip over that?
I think that if it is all known, if it's work that's been, and here's what they'll tell you is the old heads and the rough riders that don't do a session 0, I get that. But I almost believe that work's been done before and they're not talking to you about it because
Yeah.
I don't think that you can go forward smartly without stumbling a little bit unless at some point in history that was decided, that was understood. And maybe I'm completely wrong and maybe I'd like to hear more about it because you do get that sentiment a lot from people that are 2E and previous inductees. They're just like, what are you talking about? If you get a chance to run, you better know the game and you know what's up.
It's not like that anymore.
Why? Because there's more people.
More
there's
people.
more considerations.
There is more
It's a
people.
larger group. It's a larger community. You're
You
going to
gotta
run
suck
anything.
it up and be inclusive, fucker.
Sorry, dude.
Did you just say the I word?
Or you
Yes, I
don't.
did. Oh my God. I've been struck down by the United States government. I said inclusive. Yes.
Well, now that we've removed funding for that idea,
I love this. I love the idea of the benefits that can come from a session 0.
can I just say what I think the biggest one is?
Yeah.
And it's the biggest segue, and she knows I'm going to do it.
That's where I was going.
Well, you do it then, but I want backstory. I want all the backstory. If you got time to stand, you've got time to clean. If you've got time to roll dice, you've got time to write me backstory.
I don't have
want
to write it to you.
people
I'm going to
and
sit there
tables and things, and I want all
Tell
of the
you all
hooks.
the-
Give me the
If
hooks.
you ever sit down at table that Malcolm is DMing,
The more backstory, the better.
The more backstory, the better.
But-
except he's gonna use it against
Like if you want to be the safest character at the table, a mute insomniac.
To be fair,
no,
I
not
do
insomniac. Amnesiac is usually your safest character.
Yeah.
I can't say shit and I don't remember shit. Move on. Well, okay.
So that leads us into what Tori's going to talk to us about today.
Should we take a real quick
So let's
break?
We can take a break.
Let's acknowledge some business that we have to handle, do a little promo and marketing work, and we're going to be right back here at Finding a Toria. And me shutting up because I am not doing the segues. I got so segue happy. We're going to edit all that out, and Katie's going to take us to break. I'm so sorry.
Finish it up.
Thanks for listening to Finding a Toria where Patrick talks way too much. I'm editing all of that. I'm so sorry, dude. I really we hit a transition. I was like, this is my job. I know what to say. Dun, 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 dun. Now we pause. Do we pause? Let's pause.
Okay.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are with Tori and Malcolm talking about some of those early things that we need to do to have a fun game. We've talked about our session 0 and the benefits of that. And Tori's going to bring us in talking about the backstories.
Tell me more. Tell me.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to preface this a little bit for those of the listeners who've never played with us, that you always, I'm pointing to Malcolm, kind of, you let us have stuff if we asked for it, but we had to tell you why we had it.
Right. And it was usually if the stuff was a reach for your character's level or situation, if it was not an obvious backstory element. But
then the other side of that was, just because I give it to you now doesn't mean it stays with you. So just remember that. So so backstories. There are so many people who are there's so many camps for backstories. I went into a rabbit hole.
Give me some examples. Camps.
There's people who say don't go in with too much, and then there's other people who are like, yeah, no, give them all the fodder they need. But what it sounded like was everybody was like, don't go too overboard, because number one, you're coming in with a really low character, so you're not going to be out there slaying gods. So why don't we scale it back? In fact, that was a couple of people were like,
such a good point, though. It really is that you
are coming in at
backstory ad nauseum, but how can you come in as a first? And I know that we had debate a third level character even
still, and have
8th level character adventures that got you to where you were.
Nope.
It does not stand to reason.
Right.
Sorry, that's all.
No. It's fine, because it was one of the things where people were saying, you can have this great backstory, but once again, most of the time it's a first level character. Right. So you're not going to get, now, if you had family stories about stuff, Absolutely. My family they did all this cool shit.
Drink.
Did you say absolutely?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Okay, give me one other thing. Just let me inject it mentally. Instead of absolutely, I can say Schnurflafleur.
Oh, Schnurflafleur.
It's got the same number of syllables. It'll work just fine.
So, give me benefits of backstory. Why do you like doing backstory?
So I like doing it because I am all about figuring out who my character is before I hit the table, and then I will let it.
Why?
Because I make stories about them in my head, and I have to have some of that story done by the time I make them live.
I will say this as somebody who's had the benefit to look across a table at you from behind the screen for many years. You use backstory very effectively, especially when you need to explain why you're about to do something where everybody else is like, no,
guys, it's okay.
It's okay, because back in 1843, it's that level of depth to the character that comes up during game time that matters. My opinion, I should.
So, Malcolm, from the other side of it, I mean, not that you don't have player characters that you bring to the table when other people are DMing, but you are much more often the DM. Mm-hmm. Other than using it against your players,
right? No,
benefits of backstory.
I DM in a homebrew world. A homebrew world needs backstory. Homebrew world needs lore. It's very easy to say that I am from the Sword Coast because people can say, okay, I know the Sword Coast. Where you're from in the Sword Coast. If you're not from there, say you come from the humble fishing bay of Asada, nobody knows, but
they will. They will.
But now it matters that they do.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just a different depth. If you can do something with your character, or maybe you roll that one and you're like, oh, it's just like when I was back in blah. That is, to me, another role-playing depth that gives agency to your player and gives your game master so many more hooks and angles to write, build, and create investment from.
And we talk a lot about using, as DMs, the backstory sort of quote unquote against the players. Yes, but to the point of what we said earlier, that I know when I come to the table as a DM, I like to look at what my players are bringing to the table and then build around that. That's what backstory allows you to do.
And
that.
I'm going to say you don't use it so much against them. I know that the nefarious
we
hook
joke
roll,
about it.
We joke, and no, I do. I want there to be something.
Anytime I have a home base that's gotten burnt,
absolutely
something that matters to the player character, and they then.
I hand it over, fully expect it will get taken away from me.
So let's go to early seed rot. Let's go to down in the dungeons where you were going up against blah blah blah, and then the guy was on the altar and was being experimented on, and then you guys just left him like, I hope he's good. All right, we're out of here. We got to go. It was Blothcloth. It was when you guys were down and he was being experimented on, but it did not work at the time to go help the guy.
We couldn't.
We were locked out.
No, weren't we moving?
Yes.
Yeah, like we would have had to. Yeah, we would have had to
give a shit. Yeah, it would have been tough.
Jump down and die.
About giving a shit.
No, but I'm just saying at those points in time, that backstory, why your characters would not have gone there, matters. Why your characters chose to go forward instead of doing the other thing. I just think that it gives you more tools as a DM if you know more. And if you're a player, it also gives you more. I think it gives you a clearer set of decisions on things that you would not know. You get more reference to your character to go, okay, what would I do? You can role play better with more backstory.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I was going to say is I loved what Tori said earlier, because it was like, before I bring them to life,
I have to know who they are.
Otherwise,
before I can make them alive.
Then if you don't, then they just become who the dice make them.
Which I don't like. I tell lovely stories to myself all the time. I might as well make them so they work for somebody else. What? It's true.
Yeah.
That's poetry. That's beautiful.
And you know what's funny? You said that the sitting at session 0 watching character creation for that exact thing is the massive amount of the videos that I went into YouTube backstory. All you have to do is say D&D backstory and it'll shoot you at least 12 videos. I watched most of them, and most of them they said session 0 for character creation. The best thing is watch them build it, and you can ask them questions while they're doing it. Sometimes that helps steer them in the right direction. It also helps do for like.
Thank you.
You can use. It can give those moments where you're like, oh wait, that's a plot hook right there.
It provides so many opportunities for not just the player character, but also the DM who's doing that session 0, looking for that investment in agency. Right. I just think it also. Why are you swinging your sword? Do you remember like favorite enemies?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Favorite enemies were great. Like if you ran up on a pack of orcs and you looked at your character sheet and you're like,
oh yeah.
You
motherfuckers are done. No.
You did not have the option to go.
It was game over, man.
Okay, let's be really quiet and they'll pass and we'll go to the tavern.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, dude.
No.
Those are orcs. And I love that because it's got to come with backstory.
Yeah.
Why is it?
Well, and they had said something about the catalyst. Why are you adventuring?
Good point.
Yeah.
For that session 0, why are you all here? Do you find yourselves at a funeral? Do you find yourselves at a city hall?
Okay, so here's my question. We have a very creative group of friends at the table.
Yes, we do.
We have people who like to create and tell stories. What about the person that comes to the table that wants to come to the table, wants to play, wants to partake of that group storytelling, but is not the person who wants to build that story?
Do they have a valid form of payment? No.
Ask them questions.
I think that Tori just answered it.
I've seen this done.
Yes, absolutely.
I've seen this done.
It's not that they don't have a backstory. It's that they don't know how to tell it to you yet.
Yeah.
And you beat that
Ask
with questions. And if they get to a point where like, hey, I don't know, you're going to tell very quickly if it's uncomfortable for them to go through this exercise. But usually people don't know what they don't want to know, or don't know what they don't know about their character until somebody asks them about it. You know, what do you dislike in an orc? Well, yes, let me tell you, when I was 15, there was an orc that bumped me out of the way in the water fountain, and I've never quite forgiven the orc. Whatever it is, if you just force their mind to come up with something, those little facets become the amalgamation of a character. And if they're their answers, if the answers are coming from the player, you've just created agency. Congratulations, you're off the ground and running.
Ask questions.
Ask questions wins.
And it was funny because I'm going to say some names. It was a video. It was Brendan Lee Mulligan, Matt Mercer, and Abria Iyengar, right? And Abria was like, you can just walk around, and if somebody has a 40-page backstory, you ask them for the most important thing on there, and they can say, they'll give you the most important. You don't have to glean through it.
It's their elevator pitch.
Yeah, they will give you. And she goes, and on the other side, if you start asking them questions, they can build you something. And it was like,
and they're also going to build the first thing that's most important.
Right. Exactly. You can get those little
you can ask
nuggets.
Somebody, like,
I liked that
right.
She was like, nope, you can weed in between. Because some of them people will come to the table and be like, I'm going to make this. Why?
Right. Tell me why. And a lot of times you're going to figure out what they want their character to be through those questions. As innocuous as, is your character from the north or from the south? When do you plant your crops? Well, now I got a whole bunch of shit to think about. Well, we actually were farmers. At least my aunt and uncle were. But that fell off at famine of 43. And then we came around to mushroom wearing. We were some spore growing. So we
moisture farmers.
Joey Spore.
And this is how Malcolm's mind works.
And yours could too for only $19.95.
But
you're absolutely right. But I have always, for your topic that I'm not trying to steal.
No, it's okay. It's no stealing.
Anybody that's ever gamed at a table that I've been lucky enough to run knows that you can get a long way with backstory with me.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can get right off the rules very quickly with good backstory. But you're silly if you don't think that I'm not going to use that.
Yeah. No, you're handing over number one plot hooks, but you got to remember
that's agency reinforcement. If I remind you of something you told me about your character when you created them through what you're interacting with in the world, you're in. You're going to have a good time.
You knew exactly what would happen when Celia read the book and it was Raya talking to her.
Had no clue.
Yeah. No,
and
I went,
and then you went, Anyway, I don't mean to.
No, yeah. I think it's great conversation. The piece that I've always found beneficial to it is that when you are in those moments, playing a character, having to make decisions, it allows you to step outside of yourself and what decisions you would make and say, okay, well, I'm not the type of person that's a murder hobo, but, my character, well, yeah, they sort of are because XYZ happened to them and whatever. And it also, I believe, makes you talk about you can get a long way with backstory. So we don't always necessarily go by all the rules and everything like that. That is also more realistic. Not everybody comes.
Table, though.
Not everybody comes to the table, with the same, pack of equipment because we all went to the same store at level 1 and got all the same. No, like if it's a real world, people come to that very beginning of the adventure
from their level 0 experiences, which means that somebody might come to the table with something a lot more than someone else does, and it's just more realistic. There's some people, and I think that we all knew them growing up, that maybe their family ran a an academy in a magical forest, and maybe their kids had some more benefits. Maybe their level 0 children were just a little bit better than the rest of us.
You went to that school.
I never went to the Oaks.
Yes, you did.
No. I
believe there's an entire year that Dreville got trained at the Oaks. Thank you very much.
A trained student.
By
absolutely. It was a nice program, but I'm just saying.
They threw you in front of Nori. You were the meat shield they wanted to send with her.
What we'd like to talk about on our next session 0 is how people feel about the term meat shield, and maybe what we're doing to stifle the career. It's
said in love.
Yeah, a lot of things are said in love, including things that you can't see on the podcast. Right now. I think I got one of them for both of you. I'm saying,
guys, I don't play. Okay, hold on. I don't play martial classes. Like, it is highly unlikely.
You're like, look, I don't know. If you don't understand how to fucking hide, dude. Okay, I can't help you.
You make lots of noise. It's not my fault.
Listen, I can't defend myself.
I can hide behind you.
I jumped into the water to go over to the other boat during a naval battle.
On.
I forgot to take the armor off.
And I fished you out of the drink while still giving fucking... Yeah.
As my 11 intelligence knew that you would. Look, it's all very calculated, okay? Once you've been doing this for so long like I have, you gotta look a few moves ahead, okay? It's chess, not checkers, baby. Let me get out of this on this.
Yeah. Run away.
Right, absolutely. Backstory for me as a player was never as important because I have had the benefit of playing the meat shield. Nobody needs to guess why I'm with a party. Is he big? Does he land a hit every once in a while? Okay, good. Yeah, he'll walk in front of us? Okay, no, he's fine. But it's kind of cool to do. It's a great exercise.
I had to explain mine straight out the gate.
Do you think that the effort that we made building Dreville's backstory has influenced how you're playing?
I think it will influence how I will play him.
Yeah.
Especially at maybe some higher levels, as some of those things that have happened to him actually come into our lore and resonate further. But like going back to exactly what Tori said before, was she had like...
I had to.
If she were to get in the groove,
I had to.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you allow me to take the contract out of my pocket, it is a duly sworn warrant from...
Okay, so back in the day, folks, I played, and I still play, a drow rogue. Now,
you get a fast rogue.
Yeah. The problem was they weren't as numerous as they were...
No.
As they are now.
This is back in the day
when second edition,
when species were set to, if you were a high elf, you were chaotic good. If you were a drow elf, you were chaotic evil.
You didn't have any choice, so
no.
So you had to have backstory to explain why that
my character was up in the world.
And this is not anything to do with Well, no, it is to do with backstory. Fuck off for a minute, because all of us, I would think, would go to what we have as reference material literature, what we had experienced in novels, and you were informed by that. But it did not mean...
I totally stole.
But how many times did it come up in issues? It was one of those things, DMing there, that for good or ill, I always had that in my pocket. If you guys were above ground and you were out and it was daytime, I could make that an issue at any point in time I want.
Oh, yeah. I lived in a hood. And it actually,
Poor Nori.
I think Nori
Cuba Gooding Jr.
got
R.I.P.
us.
Oh, sorry. No, wait.
Different kind of hood.
Like I said, we're going to edit a bunch this time. Anyway.
But so I had to come up with a backstory of why this random.
Because of the character that you chose, it required
It
more.
required a backstory.
Because
and so,
you shouldn't even be on the street.
No.
You shouldn't even be at the tavern.
and that in and of itself, it made me start thinking. So now in my head, the way to build a character is I have to have that story of why are they out in the world.
Absolutely.
And so because of that, that gives that agency.
It does.
All right. So here's a final question.
Yeah.
Do you have to have the backstory? Can you enjoy the game without the backstory?
Let's give an example of somebody who has come in without backstory at our table. We have a necromancer I know nothing about beforehand.
Oh,
We've
I will
created.
I will tell you he has backstory.
I was going to say he does, but we don't have a whole lot of it. I could not tell you very well where Sardine's origins lie. I know roughly.
Yeah, we don't know.
But they're not in every. Our dwarven seed rot. We know because we created it through game and tied in, but there was not the quintessential session 0 with the quintessential. Now I've got a question to bounce back to you.
Yeah.
Both of you. Backstory is written. Is backstory concrete?
No.
Do you allow yourself to retcon your characters?
No. But yes. Well, okay. So hold on, because
motion.
Nori.
No, I agree with that.
But you guys both did the same thing. You
Right.
gave it the contemplative, would I do that look?
But
Go ahead, because I have an
I
answer
was
to
gonna
that,
say
too.
with mine, all it was there was some. If we had to make it work in 5th edition, she was built in 2nd. So I had to make it work somehow. And so what I did was I split it. So part of that wouldn't be an issue going in as a first.
But that's statistical stuff. I'm talking about backstory.
So
Yeah,
I
she-
do
You
think
did switch. Okay.
that
okay.
there is some.
I remember it. I built from the cave in back.
Okay.
Because that was all a big hole. There was
Okay.
nothing there.
That's how we got to bury from the. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the difficulty for us in answering that is this idea that we are taking characters that we played over 20 years ago in a very different edition
System, yeah.
and we are bringing them back to life, and we're not just bringing them back to life where our story ended 20 years ago. We are bringing them back to life and going through those stories again. And so I think we have made some modifications. I think we have built our backstories deeper than we did as kids. But aside, that is a unique situation. I think if I were to take,
Celia's done.
I
Celia's
was
is
going
not
to
going
say
to change.
Kalen. I'm not going to go change his backstory. His
And
backstory is
people
what it
have
is.
no idea who Kalen is, but it gives a good example for the idea that
Celia's set. Her backstory is done.
if backstory includes everything that came up to the first moment of gameplay, then I think that needs to be set.
I would question that just to the point of, I think there could be things that you don't think about.
Or maybe you discover things that you did not know.
So not necessarily changing. Like if I've said, like, Kalen's backstory is that he was raised in a human village until X age.
And they're not
then,
going to know him. Yeah.
I know. And then, was taken in by elven father. He's a half elf, but, that has been decided. That is a piece of his story. I'm not going to go back to that piece of the story
And be like, oh, no,
change it. But what might happen is that there could be a piece of his story that happened 4 years before that
Addendums.
that I hadn't
Addendums.
thought about.
Retcon means that you change. You take
Yeah.
So
what
it's
was
not going to
known.
be changed. It might be added to.
Could be influenced by other information,
Yeah.
but you're not going to go back and be like, well, the Tuesday that he wore his boots and tripped
Yeah,
down the
no.
stairs, he was
So-
someplace else.
Yeah.
Nori's story didn't change.
It was added to.
It was added to. But
That to me is not a retcon.
no, that's it. So, I mean,
Unless
honestly,
by
if-
adding to it, you change the facts of the original.
so I don't think any of my characters that I have thought so far I would have tweaked. But with her, we had to.
And first gen characters were part of a larger project.
Yeah.
Right.
We decided that there was going to be an authoring aspect of the lore there, which I think is different, but we go very far afield, and my question was meant to do that. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine.
No, it's good. And I do think that to that point, there is, for me, a piece of why I wouldn't want to change is because having to play to your backstory makes the story as you play it more interesting.
And I'm not the moderator of this episode, but I think
we are.
One of the things that does is bring in a really good question that we've talked about before a little bit, but could just be a full episode around the table if we ever wanted to do it. Playing to your character for
what
XP,
my character would do.
Playing to your alignment as part of your character. How do you reward?
And next time on Finding a Tori,
playing and it doesn't have to be. We could just post
topic.
this out into a 2-hour episode because I'm ready to discuss that. Not just the alignment thing, because that is so it's being discussed
squishy.
so much.
That's so
it's very
controversial,
squishy,
too.
but I think where it firms up a little bit is role playing your character.
Yeah.
You've given me backstory now so as that I understand the decisions of your character. And if you play that character completely opposite to that, is that worth something responding to as a DM? We got 3 of them in the room. We'll probably do it next time, but I don't get to do the outro this time.
All right, guys, we hope you have enjoyed our conversation today. And we are so grateful that you have chosen to check in on us and listen to our fun little reminiscences and our opinions about the game that we love to play. So thank you for listening to Finding a Toria. Again, you can find us on all the socials. You can find us on Patreon, and you can support us on Patreon. And you can always go to www.wordleafmedia.com/findingatoria, and you can listen to our episodes there and learn about us and what we're doing and why we are doing what we are doing. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. Malcolm, say goodbye.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Tori?
Bye, guys.